Well, hello and howdy, everybody in the internet land. That's what the cool kids say these days, the internet land.
I'm not sure about that. It's actually
No, no,
cannot
okay.
confirm that. No,
Cannot confirm. Scott being one of the cool kids cannot confirm.
I don't know
So,
about that.
I would say so. But yeah, welcome to Front Range Hockey, episode number 32 of the program. Hunter Miska comes to mind as a number 32 for the Avalanche and for the Colorado Eagles as of late. I'm gonna have to do some research here and try and remember who else has worn the number 32 for the Colorado Avalanche.
Guaranteeing
Um,
it's mostly goalies, probably.
Probably that would be my bet.
Good goalie
Goalies
number.
and yeah, uniform numbers. Yeah, jersey numbers. Hello. But anyway, Scott McDonald at Off Scott Free on the Twitters. CC Hawkley here from Full Press Hockey. And Scott looking to dip his toes back into writing eventually for Colorado Hockey Now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, we'll see about that. Let's. I feel like we just talked about this. We were like trying to get good. We took like a solid month off, 6 weeks off. I don't remember what it was, and then came back strong. Did our first little in person. Station 26 in-person recording. That was a blast, and
yeah,
I kind of promised you guys we're gonna get a little more regular and better about it. And sure enough, took another week or two off. So
yeah,
life gets in the way, and
it does.
it is what it is. But
that's okay. Yeah, episode number 31 was on January 12th in person at Station 26 Brewery, and now February 2nd, 2022. So yeah, here we are doing an episode.
We promise this isn't a once a month podcast. I know it kind of feels like that sometimes, but
hey, life gets in the way. I mean, there are certain things more important than Colorado hockey podcasts. Maybe not Colorado hockey itself, but at least
depends on who you ask. Yeah,
depends on who you ask. That's for sure. Other people that have worn number 32 for the Quebec Nordiques and Colorado Avalanche, Dale Hunter did from 1981 to 1999. That doesn't sound right. He wore it for the Nordiques from, okay, that didn't sound right. 81 to 87. Dale Hunter did. I was going to say, didn't he play for the Capitals? And then he came back and ended his career with the Avalanche in 99. Played 12 games for them. Okay, I didn't realize that. Wow. That's crazy. So he began and ended his career with Quebec and Colorado, 81, then back again in 99. Some other names you might recognize, Scott. Francois Beauchemin, 16, 17. Remember when he was on the team?
Old man.
Andrew Agazzino in 2015.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew Agazzino wore number 32.
He must have changed his number.
Yeah.
He was like what, 26? Like with the Eagles and the Avs, I think. Later in his career, like the last year or two he was there.
He has worn for the Avalanche number 32, 28, and 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I knew him while he was 26, I guess. But I didn't realize he changed his number that much. And he's more of a veteran guy too, so usually they don't change their numbers that much. They don't have to, but I guess
he is 31 years old. So. He's my birthday buddy, one of my many hockey birthday buddies. January 3rd, 1991. I was born the 3rd, 1987. So
nice.
And another guy I share my birthday with, actually to the day, January 3rd, 1987, former Avs goalie Reto Berra.
So, legendary Reto
the legendary Reto Berra. Well, Scott, we're getting a lot of snow here in the Denver metro area and just all along the Front Range. It's snowy Front Range hockey. That's the name of this podcast right now. So, yeah.
You staying warm over there?
I am. Yeah, I got my space
from home, right?
Yeah, I did today. I don't normally, but if I need to, I can.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I'm a total work from homer, so it's nothing new to me, but it's nice. I mean, so I mean, for one, I have like a corner apartment where I'm at, like downtown here, and these windows are old school, almost zero insulation on these things. So I'm bundled up at all times, and I'm like at my computer desk, like I am right now. But I also have a pretty good view of across street, and I am not envious of those people that are on the roads right now. So
no.
It's nice in days like these when it's you can work from home, you have the capability of doing so. I hope everyone stayed safe out there that had to had to drive because it,
Oh
it
yeah.
looks a little brutal. I don't. What were our totals? Like 7 inches, something like that, maybe.
It really depends on where you were.
Like it doesn't look like
Seven
that much, but I
inches.
haven't been out there, so I don't know.
Yeah, 7. I shoveled our neighbor was kind enough to bring over the snow blower and do our front sidewalk in our driveway. So kudos to
Always
Ken.
nice.
Shout out to
Shout
Ken.
out to Ken.
Appreciate him. Shout out to Ken. Probably not a listener of this program. He's keeps occupied with other things, but I digress. Lots of school closings here in the Denver metro area.
Yeah,
Snow ends Wednesday evening. Yeah, we'll see. But let's see. Foothills, Northern Range got most of the snow. Boulder and Loveland looks like they got 10 inches each. Fort Collins, Lakewood, downtown 9 inches.
wow,
Yeah. And I heard Colorado
decent
Springs.
amount. It's still
Yeah,
coming down too. Like,
I heard Colorado Springs got 22 inches.
yeah, it sounds about right. I feel like they're
Yeah.
usually kind of leading the pack when it comes to those snow totals, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like I think even like yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, just everyone's looking at the projections and whatnot. School started shutting down like 24 hours in advance, and I think summer's still closed like tomorrow. So I'm actually flying out to Tampa Bay
Oh.
with my girlfriend, and we have a few friends joining us as well tomorrow,
Mhm.
and we're a little nervous. There might be some cancellations or some ground flights or delays. But we actually know this girl who's flying out of Austin, Texas. She used to live out here in Colorado, but is working out there in Austin now. And she's meeting us out in Tampa, and her flight got canceled just like an hour ago. And I don't
Okay.
think it's snow. She said it's like raining there, but I guess they're expecting Texas. I have family. My dad's from the Dallas Fort Worth area. We have family there, and it's always funny hearing the stories from them when they get half an inch of snow, and it's like schools are shut down for a week, and like no one knows what to do. And I think that's kind of what's happening right now in Dallas and I guess Texas in general. I think they're preparing for the same storm. I don't even know if it's storming right now right there, but
Mhm.
yeah, I guess it's getting a little crazy. But like yeah, 200 some flights out of Texas were canceled like for tomorrow, and
Wow.
snowmageddon. It feels like it.
Well, I hope you guys can get down there safely. I mean,
Yeah. So
yeah, or at least get down there, period. I mean, safely as well, but I mean,
right.
with all those cancellations and
Either or.
everything. So
Yeah.
either or. Yeah. Well, Scott, enough about the snow. Yeah, we both have resided indoors all day. And first things first, like I said, been since January 12th since we've talked Colorado hockey. All-star selections for the NHL, for the Colorado Avalanche specifically. Let's run down those real quick because the All-Star break is upon us. The Avs played their last game against the Arizona Coyotes before the All-Star break. We will get to that. But Nathan MacKinnon wins the fan vote, named captain before kind of a freak injury against the Boston Bruins and
Yeah.
Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall, yeah, put the body on him, kind of an open ice hit, and McKinnon's stick was kind of wedged up in there. It was a clean hit, and then the stick just kind of wedged up. He was pulling it up, and it just whap, just hit him right in the
Yeah.
face. Got a concussion and a facial fracture. Didn't it break his nose? I think
Yeah,
as
no, he had like
well.
surgery. Yeah, so he's
Wow.
out for the All-Star game, and it looked. Yeah, I've seen some pictures of just different angles, and I mean the angles on his face too. That was does not look good. It looks it's like an S shape to it, which is I mean it's like losing your teeth in hockey. I guess like he's probably
Sure.
somewhat proud of that. It's a badge of honor, I guess. But yeah, no, it looks super painful. Like I've never broke my nose, but I'm kind of a baby. When I get like a nosebleed, it's just like I don't like blood coming out of my face, and
That's
I don't
fair.
think anyone really does. It's kind of standard, but yeah, no, like super painful. So it's kind of a bummer. Like he was selected captain, and he's not gonna be able to make it. But it sounds like he's right after this All-Star break, he'll be good to go. So that's the positive there.
Right. Yeah, he'll get to rest and everything before the All-Star break. And speaking of All-Stars, Cale Makar initially was the only defenseman on the Central Division team. That was until Roman Yossi took McKinnon's spot on January 30th. Once McKinnon ducked out, Roman Yossi, who is more than deserving. I mean, point per game defenseman, you
Yeah,
know, kind of rare this day and age for a defenseman, unless you're Cale Makar or Roman
right.
Yossi, I suppose, to be averaging a point per game. So, I mean, yeah, pretty crazy how yeah, a lot of people were kind of up in arms. It's like, well, why not Mikko Rantanen? And That's understandable because Miko's also having a standout year. Just everyone pretty much on that line.
It's like, I mean,
Um,
you could literally pick anyone on, yeah. There's probably 5, 6, 7, Avalanche players that deserve it, and Coach Bednar's going too. I think that's pretty awesome. He's gonna be coaching the Central team, and yeah, I mean, I'm glad Nazem Kadri he got in. He got I guess it was like the fan vote, the last chance vote, whatever they call it.
yep,
But he's
last
obviously
man in.
super, yeah, last man in. He's obviously super deserving of it, and what a year he's having. It's crazy. And I know we kind of talked about it one of our first podcasts of this season. I know he had really bad playoff. The past playoffs have not been like great for him, and tail end of the season there. I mean, just last year was not a good year for him. He'll be the first person to tell you that that exact fact. Wow. I mean, what a comeback year. This is exactly what he needed. I think is it a contract year for him? I think it might be. But we
It
had talked
is.
about, yeah, like and one of our first podcasts of the year, like, I think we had a question from, one of the viewers about who do you see on the chopping block, or like who could be trade bait. And I think I said Nazem Kadri as a guy who, depending on how the Avalanche were doing, I think at the time we're not doing very good, started the year like 2-5, 2-6, like, I don't know, slow start, which is pretty typical of the Avalanche, as we've come to find out. And they
Right.
turn it on, as they have been, lately and for the rest of the year. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he's trade bait at this point. He's an NHL All-Star, and he's going to be a huge integral part of this team's playoff push. So it's great to see everyone's kind of stepping up.
Yeah, and gosh, we'll get to that here in a second. Just the success that the Avalanche have had in the month of January, and both just a win streak and a home win streak as well. But real quick, just to wrap up first things first, head coach Jared Bednar getting the nod, coaching the Central Division team, and rightfully so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I mean, I think I know that guy, and on a different level than a lot of people, might think, but I like the guy. I appreciate
Mhm.
him, and I think a lot of people, we talked about it numerous times, over the last like year or so. But whether it's the early, can't make it out of the second round of the playoffs, I think it's always on the coach's shoulders to be the one that's fired, or takes the blame for it. And he always has taken the blame for those things. But I've always been a proponent of keeping, hang on to him. I think it was supposed to be his final season. I was like, let's give him this year. And it's a contract year for him as well as it is for a few Avalanche players. And let's see, prove their mettle out there, and try to get a contract. And he did, super early on, got a contract extension. I think 2 years. He's sticking around. Is it 3 years? I don't remember, but
I want to say it's a 3-year contract. I
might be
think him
3.
and
Yeah,
Cronin got 3-year contracts this year.
yeah.
So
So I think he's super
yeah.
deserving of that. And it's, again, this is a year I think everyone needed to have. And again, it all comes down to the playoff success, and how you view and value a head coach. But I think right now he's a Jack Adams candidate, and he has NHL All-Star coach to add to his resume as well.
2-year extension, July 9th. Oh,
Oh,
July
two.
9th, 2019. He signed a 2-year
I
extension.
think that
I'm,
was
I'm looking
yeah,
at I'm looking at old news here.
yeah, the
So
one from like 2 months ago, whatever, 3 months ago. Jeez, I don't even know. Time
yeah,
flies.
time is a flat circle. It just doesn't matter anymore. Jared
Exactly.
Bednar contract extended through 23-24 season. So another 2-year contract
Yeah.
extension. So I was right. I was just
Yeah.
looking at the wrong
All
information.
right. There you go. Just copy and paste that same article and change the date.
Exactly, pretty much. Fun fact about Jared Bednar, especially since I've been covering ECHL and AHL hockey for going on my 5th season now. Jared Bednar led the Stingrays, the South Carolina Stingrays of the ECHL, to a Kelly Cup championship in 08-09. And he also led the Lake Erie Monsters to a Calder Cup in 15-16. If he wins the Stanley Cup, he has won championships at the NHL, AHL, and ECHL level.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is, I mean, incredibly impressive. And obviously, like, what
Yeah.
he's done, I think he's the winningest coach in, franchise history now at this point. And I think he's a great coach. He's just, yeah, I think a lot of people, the issues they have with him, you could kind of blame the media too. Like, no one ever asks him the hard questions, and things like
Sure.
that. And, we get our fair share of that, and it's deserving, I guess. But, he's just a very quiet coach. I know the players adore the guy. And I just think, he's exactly what this team needs. And it's always good to just have that continuity as well, like, not, having a new coach every 2 years, every 3, 4, 5 years, like especially this, he's helped raise like literally raise a lot of these players. So they have been in his system since like day one, and just the more practice you get in these systems that they're laying out, and to obviously to much success. I think the better it is long term, and it's better for the development too. Like we'll talk about the Eagles in a little bit, but
Right.
Cronin and Coach Bednar are bouncing notes off each other, and that's how it should be. And I think the longer you have, the more tenure you have to do those things, the better it is in the long run. And I think we're starting to see that. Obviously, the past 2-3 years have been great for the Avalanche, but if this record-setting, franchise-setting month that they've had, and these past couple of months they've had, I mean, the team refuses to lose. Like if this just continues the way it has been, then this is like a Stanley Cup team, and yeah, he'll finally get that Stanley Cup, and be able to check that off the list of awards he's won at every single level. And again, I think he's got to be the Jack Adams front runner right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to continue to push through. Yeah, let's just dive in and start talking about the Avs, because we already are talking about the Avalanche, but I wanted to, first things first, it's an opening segment it's kind of a catch-all. I mean, last time we talked about,
it's like the table of contents. We kind of give you the breakdown of, timestamps of what we're going to talk about, but
yeah, a little bit. And if there's some Utah Grizzlies news, some Wasatch Range hockey, throw that in there. We talked about Dasto last time, and getting his ECHL All-Star nod, and game-winning goal with a handful of seconds left and everything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, the Avs All-Star selections, I think, garnered first things first, and now we're talking January 15-0-1. I mean, what a record to carry through the month of January. I want to say it tied the most wins in any month in NHL history, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and they carried 10 straight wins into February, 18 straight home wins, and unfortunately that was snapped last night on February 1st. The Avs lost to Arizona 3-2 in a shootout, but so they still got a point. But yeah, that's both of those impressive streaks coming to an end heading into the All-Star break, but definitely not I mean, they didn't get blown out. It was a close game. So
yeah, I mean, of course it happens to like the Arizona Coyotes. It's always how it works, right?
Right,
the number one team against like the last place team is going to be the one that breaks your streak, and it's
any
kind of how
given
it
night.
goes. But yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, 18 game home win streak snapped. I think that's the franchise record, or it was like fifth most in NHL history. I think tied for the fifth
that sounds
most.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they're currently riding. So since they got a point, it's like 18, 19 game like point streak, something like that, which is a franchise record. And I think, they surpassed that last night. And I guess it was the 2001 Stanley Cup team was the last team to do it. So again, those are good key indicators, I guess. Anytime the Stanley Cup winning team those are the records you're breaking. It's usually, a pretty good sign of things to come, hopefully, knock on wood. But yeah, I mean, crazy. And it's just so weird. And we'll talk about these teams later, but whether it's the DU Pioneers or the Colorado Eagles, like these teams have not lost since like December. Like it's crazy. Like they're getting points, and I mean it's good to be a Colorado hockey fan right now. And, the Avalanche are obviously leading the charge, and I mean they refuse to lose. They're kind of leading the pack in so many different stats. I think they're second place in the NHL right now, but I think the Florida Panthers have one more point than them, but also like 3 games in hand. So I consider the Avalanche to be, the number one team at the moment. And same with like, goals scored or goals for per game, power plays, top 5, top 10. Like, there's just a bunch of, I mean, this team is crazy good. And, we saw it coming, I guess, but it's awesome.
Scott, it's funny. I've got an outline of topics and points that I want to make beforehand, to kind of carry into the show. And I literally have that exact same thing, that they are leading, or they're behind Florida by 1 point in the standings with 3 games in hand, verbatim. Like that's what I put. And I'm like, stop reading off my notes, telekinetically, reading my mind, because I don't share. Exactly. I don't share my notes with Scott. I just, it's kind of a helper for me. And Scott is just a fount of knowledge, as you found out when we, were playing off of each other live. And boy, that was fun. We definitely need to do that again. Like you said at the top of the program. But yeah, I mean, the Avs 32-8-4, first place in the Central. 8 points ahead of Nashville with 2 games in hand. And so, yeah, first in the Western Conference, like you said, second in the NHL. Scott, I did want to talk a little bit about the points leaders because these statistics are so impressive. And it's across, the top line, but also, throw in a defenseman, throw in Nazem Kadri on that second line. So Kadri is third in the NHL with 60 points. He's behind Leon Draisaitl, who has 61, and Jonathan Huberdeau of Florida with 64 points. And Mikko Rantanen, of course, sixth in the league with 54 points. Maybe not, of course, but now you know. So just wanted to go over that a little bit, but also you have Mikko Rantanen with 54 points. He's second on the team in scoring. Makes sense. Gabe Landeskog, 45 points. Cale Makar, 44. Nate McKinnon, 43. And all of those guys, your top 5 scorers, both assists and goals, they're all in triple digits right now in shots, which I don't think is a coincidence. Shooter's going to shoot. So what other way are you going to score goals except by putting it on the net? And the top 4 have double-digit shooting percentages. Nazem Kadri, 13.5%, Mikko, 16.8%, Gabe Landeskog, 18.6%, and Cale Makar, 15.5%. Nate McKinnon, 6.6%, but he's become more of a facilitator this year than anything. It's kind of like hey, wait a second.
And that's actually, I wanted to jump in right there. I was going to say, I mean, that's the craziest part. Like, the narrative for the last 2 to 3 years is like this Avalanche team, they're not going to, go deep in the playoffs because of, they ride their top line and that's it. Outside of that top line, that's where the production comes. And, their success really rides or dies on Nathan McKinnon. He's
Right.
a perennial all-star. He's one of the greatest, like top 2, top 3 NHL players in the league over the last, 3 or 4 years. Perennial MVP, Hart Trophy candidate, whatever. And he just, has not been a huge factor. Like, obviously has 43 points, but, a lot of those are assists, rebounds off his shots, things like that. And the top line still is producing, obviously, but, we're seeing a lot more depth come into play. And anytime, Nathan McKinnon, he's not even top 5 in goals scored on the team. And, he's missed a dozen games this year, whether it's the broken nose or, COVID things. And, they're still winning games, and that's like crazy. Like, you couldn't really say that over the past, couple seasons. Like, Nathan McKinnon's out of the line, I'd be like, well, shit, we're probably not going to win this one, or, our chances just drop drastically. But that has not been, that's been the most impressive part for me. That's been the narrative for me this year is, this team, like, I'm not nervous anymore when Nathan McKinnon's not in the lineup. It's like, they got it, this depth, which, everyone liked to talk about, in the off season when not many moves were made, or they brought in, kind of third, fourth line guys, how the depth was going to suck this season and goals are going to be hard to come by. And that's, just has not been the case at all. And that's, a really good sign of a deep running playoff team is the depth is kind of shining and showing its way through. And you have the unsung heroes, the Nazem Kadris who people wrote off, the last couple of seasons. He's been very average player, let him, right off into the sunset. Avs won't re-sign him or they'll trade him this year. But, that's not the case. He's an all-star and, he's leading the team and I guess not leading the team in goals, but, he's up there. And last season, I don't even think he had 19 goals, but, guys are stepping up when they need to. And, defensemen are great. Devon Taves, Cale Makar, as always. Andre Burakovsky is just kind of quietly having, a really, really good season as well. Alex Newhook is in double digits at the halfway mark, of the season. And, after he got kind of sent down and got a stern talking to about, if he wanted to be in the NHL, he needs to do this, this, and this, got called back up and was doing this, this, and this. And now he's, in the lineup night in and night out, and he's producing. And it's just awesome to see that, for once Nathan McKinnon is not, the hero of the team. He doesn't need to be the hero of the team. And that's a really, really good sign, I think.
Yeah. I mean, depth is always something that we preach here on Front Range Hockey, whether it be with the Avalanche, whether it be with the Eagles. And it's amazing, now that the Avs are healthy, now that the Eagles are healthy, success is happening. Like they have all their pieces in place.
Crazy concept. Yeah.
It's amazing. And even when, like normally, you understand a guy or two go down, but when you have to call up, 3 or 4 guys, 3 forwards and the defensemen, like I remember talking, like the Eagles had started, last episode talked about the Eagles starting 3 ECHL defensemen in their starting 6, and it's like, how do you expect, and they held their own against Iowa. Don't get me wrong. They ended up holding their own against the Iowa Wild in those last couple games of 2021. But yeah, I mean, if you're bringing in depth guys and you're not quite there and you're not getting the win and everything, that's just me from the Eagles perspective, of course. But like to bring up Avalanche, to bring up Jason Megna, to bring up Dylan Secura, to bring up Martin Kaut, and to bring up, Jacob McDonald when he was healthy, unfortunately,
Right.
not the case anymore, or Justin Barron, it's like when you're relying on 4 or 5 guys to come up like that, of course the results are going to be on the ice and the chemistry is not going to be there. But now it's like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Firing all cylinders. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's a good segue into the Eagles if we want to start talking about that. But
Absolutely. Of
it's like
course.
that. What they haven't lost in regulation since like December something. Like it's
Yeah.
nuts.
So
Like they're on a 14-game point streak, 13 games, something like that.
12
Like
game. Yep.
yeah.
Going back to December 22nd. And they're also riding Eustace for all. Eustace
Yeah.
Anunin, 9 games straight that he has played in nets. He is just going for those back-to-backs and everything like that. You don't see Hunter Miska out there. You don't see Trent Miner. I did see Peyton Jones against the Iowa Wild, because there was a play where an Iowa skater kind of not intentionally barreled into Eustace, and it kind of messed up his skate. So Eustace had to be helped off the ice on one skate because the skate was messed up. In comes Peyton Jones at the end of the second period. Peyton Jones coming in relief, 3 save effort, saved all 3 shots he faced at the end of the second period. And then back in the third period, you saw Eustace out there again. So Peyton Jones coming up, Trent Miner and Peyton Jones, going back and forth between ECHL, Utah, getting that playing time down with the Grizzlies, who aren't doing bad either. Them and Idaho 1-2 in the Mountain Division. All is right with the world, because that's a great rivalry between those 2 teams. Can confirm I covered the Steelheads for 2 years, and now kind of peripherally covering the Grizzlies as well. That's probably going to be your Mountain Division final, but I digress. We're not talking ECHL. We're talking AHL hockey with the Colorado Eagles. I don't want to get on a sidebar here. Okay, so the Eagles had an 8-game winning streak from December 31st to January 26th. Yeah, I think they had a pretty good January as well.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
what are they, like 7-0-2, something like that? Didn't lose in regulation in the entire month. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And they haven't lost in regulation in 2022 either, as we're heading into February now. They actually have a game tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Time against San Diego in California. So yeah, I mean, they're gonna hopefully keep that going. But I tell you, I actually got to attend a couple of Saturday games against Milwaukee, the Eagles hosting Milwaukee rather. January 15th, 4-3 shootout victory, second in a row. So both of the games Friday and Saturday night went to shootouts. Eustace Anunin taking over 4 shootout wins, leading the AHL. So very impressive for him. And then I also got to see Dylan Secura, 25 seconds left in regulation against Iowa, tie game 2-2. Dylan Secura potting the game-winning goal. Budweiser Event Center, of course, just came unglued. Like, this team knows how to win. And talking to Coach Cronin, you want to talk about asking the tough questions. I after the Milwaukee game, I asked a tough question about the penalty kill and the power play, because they're both like 26 in the AHL. And he's like, hey, we killed off 4 minutes and 50 seconds of a major penalty. We were clearing the puck, we were getting sticks in passing lanes, and so he took a little chagrin to that, which I don't blame him. I mean,
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, and it was a goal that was scored in close, and so he's like, but we killed off the majority of that. And I'm like, well, that's fair. And then against
but I mean,
Iowa,
everyone just looks at the you don't see that on the stat sheet, which is like, it's unfortunate, but
it is.
He's got a point. It's a fair point. And
it is a fair point. And but the thing is, like, coming back next Saturday against Iowa, like, I think they were 1 for 3 on the power play, and they actually, I think, held Iowa to, Iowa was 0 for 5 on the power play. So they started to kick it into gear, and I was the first one to say, listen, I know I brought up this last time, but I am willing to admit, hey, this power play, this PK is improving. They went 3 for 5 on the power play against San Diego, like after that.
Yeah.
And so, this Eagles team is, Aaron Schneekloth, Tim Branham, working on the power play and the PK, like they're starting to, I mean, Schneekloth has been with the Eagles organization
Right.
since he was a player in the CHL, so like him as an assistant coach when the Eagles came over to the AHL, but Branham coming in, starting to get his flow after coaching the Grizzlies for 8 or 9 seasons in the ECHL. Like it's really encouraging to see this Eagles team, starting to put it together. And
Yeah.
they are third now in the Pacific behind Stockton and Ontario, who are having some amazing seasons. And after 37 games played, they have a .622 points percentage. They're 5th overall in the Western Conference, and they're 6th overall in the AHL. That goes to show you how good the Western Conference is when, you're 5th in the Western Conference, but you're also 6th overall in the AHL. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just absolutely unreal. Like it's a great time to be a Colorado hockey fan.
Absolutely.
2022 has been so kind to, our collegiate teams and our, the AHL team and the NHL team. And it's just so much fun to watch. And, like you said, it's all happening at the right time, right? Like there's, everyone's getting healthy and, the taxi squad thing is not really a deal anymore. And, again, everyone's just healthy up and down the, development, which is great, winning. Yeah, I think I talked to, Billington a couple seasons ago, and he's like, honestly, we care. First priority is developing prospects, but that can't really happen unless you're winning hockey games. Like that's the best way to develop a NHL talent. And these guys like Martin Kautz and the Shane Bowers, if they're playing, it's good to be in that winning environment. It's fun. Everyone's having a good time, and it just looks good for the entire organization. And the Eagles are playing fantastic, and let's hope it continues tonight.
Yeah, and like I said, that one game against San Diego this evening, 7 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Then they head to Bakersfield. The Condors, going over it on the Calder Farmstead AHL podcast with Sean O'Brien, we've noticed that the Condors are kind of, we're not quite sure if their recent success is for real or not. So I think they're going to get a test against the Colorado Eagles this coming weekend on Friday and Saturday in Bakersfield. Eagles going to be wrapping up a 6-game road trip against Bakersfield before coming back. Looking over at the Peanuts calendar,
Quite a few games.
Tucson. Yes, Tucson. They are coming back home to face Tucson on Friday the 11th and Saturday the 12th. And real quick, I did want to bring up here that man, Ryan Wagner. I've
He's so much fun.
unrequited. Yeah, 110% on the ice every time. He actually got on a line with Jason Megna and Martin Kaut in the January 29th game at Henderson, which I believe they shut out Henderson 4-0. Eustace Anunin getting the shutout, and Nick Henry, fourth line Nick Henry getting a couple goals. So you want to talk about guys contributing up and down the lineup.
I don't hear his name as often anymore.
Right?
Or really ever.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he was on a line with Matthew Boucher up from the Utah Grizzlies, and Gabriel Fontaine, who hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, after signing a contract and coming over from the Hartford Wolfpack and the New York Rangers organization after playing a number of seasons with them. So, and you've got the young guys, Ranta, Wingerly, and Foodie were on a line, Bowers, Burke, and Sherwood, and then you had Megna, Kaut, and Wagner, and, Dennis Gilbert, I will say this again, one of the most sacrificial defensemen. He will put the body on. He will get in shooting lanes. He will block pucks. Like, having him back is huge. And to put him with Jordan Gross, who is, I think, the leading scoring defenseman in the AHL currently, like, he's a revelation after being on Arizona's taxi squad, and maybe we've rehashed that point from, 3 weeks ago, but it's worth repeating. Jordan Gross and Dennis Gilbert, that is a defensive pairing worth watching. And, you pair a guy like, Andreas England and Justin Barron together, Rob Hamilton and Roland McCune, and then Keaton Middleton, as your 7th defenseman. I mean, that was your 7 defensemen, and it's great that they actually can have 7 defensemen. I feel like I'm rambling, Scott. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But yeah, to deploy, I mean, because they haven't had they had Rob Hamilton as a forward I want to say, in the Milwaukee series. Like, so to have him back at defenseman where he's most comfortable, I mean, this Eagles team is scary. It's going to be scary good. And especially they might be a sleeper coming out of that Pacific Division come playoff time.
Definitely.
Should everything, knock on wood.
I was literally just about to say, I feel like we've just been robbed the last, like 2 years of playoff hockey. And the Eagles were, they kind of struggled a little bit, last season, but then really turned it on towards, when playoffs would have started. And, unfortunately, playoffs were just canceled altogether. The season was, canceled. But, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what this team can do. And if they can stay healthy, again, let's knock on wood. Same thing with the Avalanche. Obviously, the health and the depth is what goes into, winning championships, I think, at the end of the day. And, we're seeing what a healthy lineup, a healthy Eagles and a healthy Avalanche lineup can do, and a strong, deep team on both those sides too. What they're capable of. So I'm really excited to see, some playoff hockey in Loveland, and obviously Budweiser Event Center. If you haven't been there, I'm sure many of you listeners have, but it's a blast. It's incredible. It's such a fun time. They sell out every single game, and playoffs is no different. It's just turned up even more. It's such a good time. So I'm excited to watch that.
It's something when you're selfishly, as a credentialed journalist, it is a lot easier to cover a team that's successful. It is a lot easier to cover a team.
For sure.
It's more fun as well. Yeah. And so the blessing to cover the Idaho Steelheads, longest North American pro hockey postseason streak, I think 24, 25 seasons in a row. And then coming over to the Colorado Eagles, who, again, another successful franchise, you getting to cover the Avalanche, like, we're spoiled, man.
Yeah, no, it's a fun time to be, a Colorado hockey fan. Yeah, journalist too. Like, just get to talk to these guys. Like, they're always in good moods, and rightfully so. It's just, it's a lot more fun than covering loss after loss after loss. Like, maybe you get more columns out of losses, and like sometimes those are pretty fun to write. And I enjoy writing the Scott takes and in columns when the team is doing bad, and playing a little devil's advocate. But it's a lot easier, I will say, to cover a team that just wins.
Yeah, that's Scott McDonald. He's 50-50, most of the time he's cool, but then he just goes off the rails.
Goes off the deep end.
It goes off the deep end. That's right. Yeah. Scott has that quote up in his header. And that's the thing. You can't take yourself too seriously. And so when people say stuff like that, you're just like, okay.
It's like, I mean, they're not wrong. That's like, I guess that's journalists at the end of the day. But yeah, I thought it was true. Funny. I came across that comment one time man, I'm not even sure. I think it was probably a Tyson Jost thing. I know we haven't said his name in such a long time, but
we haven't.
I think that's what it was. So this person, I won't name who it is, but is just a huge Tyson Jost supporter and fan. And I think didn't like the way I flip-flopped my opinion on him, or I don't remember what it was, but I think this was in the point where I really was not like Tyson Jost fan, like 3 seasons ago. I thought he's like, trade bait. This guy's not going to be an NHL mainstay. Let's move on, or like expose him in the expansion draft. And she didn't like that, very much. And I got that comment. And then now we're on the same team now. I'm a huge Tyson Jost fan, so whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing. Things change. Opinions can change. We're not cemented into one opinion. We're allowed to change our minds, even as credentialed journalists. So just giving everyone fair warning out there in internet viewership and listenership land. So anyway, so that's it for the pro game. You ready to talk some collegiate hockey, Scott?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. DU, Denver University Pioneers. We've got some great news for goaltender Magnus Krona. Guess what? He had a good January as well. Just a good January across the board. We're 3 for 3 so far. Yeah. Not surprised. Magnus Krona named NCHC Goaltender of the Month for the month of January. 6-0-1, posting a 1.67 goals against average, 0.920 save percentage, 3 shutouts and 7 starts in the month of January. Hot damn.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And guess who he got drafted by? If people don't know, 5th round draft pick in 2018 from the Tampa Bay Lightning. The rich get richer.
I was going to say, yeah. As soon as Vasilevsky retires, like, you got Magnus Krona, and geez, yeah.
Yep.
They draft. They're good at drafting goalies. I will say, Tampa Bay knows talent. So,
I mean, and don't don't be surprised if he marinates a little bit in Syracuse for a year or two, especially with Vasilevsky. Who knows how long he'll play? But like,
Yeah.
and maybe he'll marinate in Syracuse, Tampa Bay's AHL squad for a year or two, and then get the backup role or get the backup nod, or maybe he'll just, I don't know. It's hard to say, but anyway, yes, congrats to Magnus Krona. And needless to say, based off of his goaltending record, DU has done well since our last episode on January 12th. They defeated number 15 Omaha by a score of 5-2 on Saturday, January 15th, and 4-0 on Sunday, January 16th. Scott, I kind of cut you off. I felt like you were going to say something.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. Yeah, you're
Okay.
good. I was just going to back you up on your statement there about Krona, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, thank you. No, I feel like I just yammer on sometimes, and I don't want to just cut you off, Scott. So
no, never.
Gold Pan Series against Colorado College, 1 game at Magnus Arena, 1 game at Ed Robson Arena down there in Colorado Springs. They shut out Colorado College in not 1, but 2 games on the weekend. Friday, January 21st, 5-0. Saturday, January 22nd, 4-0. 9-0 on the weekend. We'll get to Colorado College here in a minute and their struggles. But back to DU, went to Miami of Ohio, beat the Red Hawks 5-4 on Friday, January 28th, and Saturday, January 29th, 4-2. Those are the 6 wins that Magnus Krona had under his belt. January 1st, a 4-4 tie against Anchorage, I believe. Or maybe, no, it's University of Alaska Fairbanks, the other Alaska collegiate hockey team. My bad. With all that said, Denver is in first place in the NCHC, 11-3 with an overtime win to their credit. 18-5-1 overall record, .771 points percentage. The USCHO.com ranking of number 4 in the nation. USA Today, USA Today, USA Hockey Magazine poll has them at number 3. And the rankings percentage index, RPI, has them also at number 3. So a top 4 ranking, or
and
top
number
3.
1 in the NCHC. Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
for the first time in since I've been covering this team, and they're ahead of North Dakota in the standings. And I mean, just what an incredible, what a slow start they had too. Like beginning of the season. I feel like that's been the case for all these teams that we cover. Like it's been so much fun here at the Front Range Hockey Podcast to just, basically it's all doom and gloom the first few episodes of the season. And wow, I mean, now it's just fun to talk about, and crazy turnarounds from all the most of the teams, Colorado College and Air Force, maybe not so much, but yeah, crazy turnarounds. And they're number 1 in the NCHC for the first time in a while. Top 3 in the entire nation is incredible. I think they rank 3rd most goals scored in the entire NCAA. Bobby Brink is 3rd in the entire NCAA in points, and Carter Savoy, the sophomore, is having just an insane, follow-up season to his freshman year, which is great as well. I think he's top 5 and tied for top 5 place in goals scored. And, it's a super talented team. And the unfortunate thing, obviously Krona, we talked about him and, the year he's having as well, but, DU's fun. And, the thing that sucks is this is probably Bobby Brink's, last season, and Carter Savoy, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I don't think he's going to come back for a junior year. And we talked about this, I feel like last episode. Is it the Oilers? I think it's the Oilers. But I'm sure the Oilers are going to be, ringing his phone and trying to get him, to win a spot at a, training camp, and he just might. And then Krona, kind of the same situation. So, it's fun to have the year that they're having, and who knows what next year will look like. But I could see this team making a deep run, especially if they're capable of being on par with North Dakota, with those kinds of teams. Then or ahead of them as they are. Then I think that's kind of their biggest roadblock. And again, just like the Eagles and the Avalanche, should be, a fun tournament season, fun playoffs.
And, Krona can stay for his senior year because Tampa Bay doesn't need him. Because Tampa Bay's got Vasilevsky. Well, yeah, Tampa Bay's got Vasilevsky. Brian Elliott, Colorado Avalanche great Brian Elliott. He's 37. So he's Vasilevsky's backup currently. And then you've got Hugo Alnefelt and Amir Miftakov, 20 and 21 respectively, behind Maxime Lagacé. So I mean, they're just stacked at goaltender right now. So it's like you're not in any hurry to bring Magnus Krona up. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, play your senior year next season.
Yeah, I wish it was his choice. Like I know DU would prefer that, and he might prefer
Oh
that
yeah,
too. But just kind of the same thing with like Eustace and Noonan. I mean, like they pulled him over like a little bit early, and it's like they want their players playing in the AHL like as quickly as they can. I could see him making that jump to Syracuse next season, and that might be very well what they want him to do as well, and start getting that training in the AHL because it takes They always say you talk to any head coach, they'll tell you that it's the hardest position to develop as a goaltender, and it could take 5 years in the AHL before they kind of have that revelation where they can become an NHL goalie. And we're seeing it with the Noonan. Things are looking good. They're trending the right
yeah,
direction. There's a learning curve, but he's on fire now, and probably another season or two in Loveland, and like he's going to be the de facto kind of replacement or they're hoping he will be the number one goalie of the future, and at that time he'll be like 23, 24, and they'll have him for a long, hopefully illustrious career. But it's we'll see what happens. Again, goalies are tough.
Goaltending is voodoo is a mantra that we repeat often on the Calder Farmstead. So it's really hard to get a read on it for sure. But let's head to Colorado College. We already went over the gold pan matchups with Denver, and that didn't work out well for Colorado College. So at least the Tigers split a series with number 16 Omaha after that on January 28th. They got a 4-1 victory, and on January 29th, 3-2 loss to Omaha, University of Nebraska, Omaha. They did hold Omaha scoreless for the first 2 periods of that 4-1 victory, but then on Saturday, Uno scores once in every period the next game, including the game winner halfway through the 3rd period. So tough loss after kind of a rebound win against the University of Omaha, Mavericks. I was like, what's their mascot? It's the Mavericks. Overall, Colorado College not doing well this year, 7-14-3. That's a .354 points percentage. They're trying to right the ship. They are. They're getting better later we go in the season. 7th of 8 teams, though, in the NCHC, 4-9-1 with 1 overtime loss in those standings. So it's not going to get any easier for them either, because next up, number 5 in the nation, Western Michigan, comes to Colorado Springs in the Ed Robson Arena. Yikes. February 4th and 5th this weekend. So good luck.
Yeah. Godspeed.
I mean, I think your hope is maybe you split the weekend on that one too.
That'd be a win. Yeah.
That would be a win, in my opinion. So that's it for Colorado College. And Scott, if there's a Colorado College bummer, then there's an Air Force. More bad news heading to Air Force, right?
Of course.
Wrong. Yeah. No. I have good news for Air Force. The Falcons have won 5 of their last 6 games since our last episode.
Wow.
Holy crow. They swept their 2-game set against Niagara on the 14th and the 15th of January. That's a 5-4 victory on Friday, 3-2 victory on Saturday. Then they swept Mercyhurst up in Erie, Pennsylvania on the 21st and the 22nd of January, 5-2 victory on Friday, 5-3 on Saturday. And then they headed back to the United States Air Force Academy. They split the 28th and the 29th. So the 28th was an 8-3 loss. That was a tough one, but they came back 3-2 overtime win against fellow Service Academy team, Army. So glad you get a win at home against Army, but 5 of their last 6 games, the Air Force Falcons are starting to pick up steam in the Atlantic Hockey Division. Will Gavin, second in goals in that division for Air Force with 11 in 23 games played. Brandon Cook tied for first in assists in that division with 17. Nate Horn tied for third with power play goals. He's got 5 in the Atlantic Hockey Division. So kind of a pleasant surprise to come back to.
Yeah, I mean, good for them. They need it. They need a couple wins in a row just for morale and confidence for the university, or I guess the academy, and
right.
For the players too. So good for them. I don't know if it's, going to translate to any success in any sort of postseason tournament or any berth into a tournament, but it's a win's a win is a win. So
exactly. And overall, hey, they're creeping closer to 500. 10-12-2. That's a .458 points percentage. 6th out of 10 teams in the Atlantic Hockey Division. 8-8-2 is their divisional record. So they have pulled even divisionally. So I mean, keep going up. I mean, they've been 9th and 10th I feel like the majority of the episodes that we've hosted on this podcast. So
Yeah.
next up, Canisius College up in Buffalo, New York this Friday and Saturday, February 4th and 5th. So Canisius, I want to say, is a little bit ahead in the standings. I would probably need to go back and check, but from what I remember from my research earlier, Canisius a little bit ahead of the Air Force Academy in the Atlantic Division hockey standings. So, I'm going to double check that real quick, but yeah, it's again, Scott, it's nice to see. It is
Trending
nice
in
to
the right
see
direction.
trending
Seeing
in the
some
right
success,
direction.
I guess, across the board. Usually it's Air Force that's kind of dragging down the averages, but even they're doing pretty well. So something's in the water here in Colorado, and
Yeah,
it's been a good time.
must be all that snow we've been getting the past few
I guess
weeks.
so.
Just that
Yeah.
fresh dump of water. So
Yeah.
Canisius third in the Atlantic Hockey Division. So
Okay.
there you go. They've got 30 points total. Air Force has 27, so they're not that far behind. So stay tuned. That'll be fun to
There you go.
watch. All right. So we've got collegiate hockey, Colorado collegiate hockey covered. And I do want to apologize real quick before we go to asking the feed to DJ Sky Sonics. I was just, I just got done shoveling the walkway. We thought we were going to deliver food in. And so I just kind of rushed into it. And I completely forgot about the intro music and the transition
I just
music
realized
and
that
stuff
too. I
like
was like,
that.
wait, we haven't had any
Yeah.
any transitions.
I
Well,
I
dang
need to
it.
apologize to DJ Sky Sonics for that. But yeah, we'll get you next time. And actually, I'm gonna queue up some.
Yeah, it's not
I'm gonna
too late.
queue up the outro music right now so that we have that going into our outro. So yeah,
I guess
there we
it's been
go.
a while since we've done it, like, because we did it in person, like last time, I guess. So it's been a while since we've done this Zoom kind of over the computer podcast. So I think we're starting. We got to get our processes back dialed in. We're
Yeah, for sure.
a little
Oh,
aloof right now. Oh,
oh my,
now I can
no,
see it. Whoa!
you get out of there.
Now you know what it looks like.
Yep, there you go. Now, my Windows Groove Music. Yeah, so trying to cue that up. Anyway, so we'll get to that here in a second, but it's time for our favorite segment of the program where we talk to the public and field questions from them. It is asking the social media feed on Twitter, and Scott has done a diligent job tweeting that out. And we've actually got a fair number of questions here. We've got
We got
four
Karen Sherritt just snuck one in. So
under the wire.
perfect
Karen,
timing.
haven't gotten a question from her in a long time.
Yeah,
So
it's been a while.
first and foremost, we're going to go to Puckman. Puckman can't die. Only the actors who portray him at Unpucky Guy. If Sakic were to trade for Giroux, Claude Giroux, Philadelphia Flyers, kind of a popular name getting floated around. I would say he's the Hendrik Lundqvist of 2 years ago in the rumors coming to Colorado. Yeah, I would say that in regards to big name, a lot of talk. I don't think it should happen, but Puckman says and asks, what do you think the package would consist of? And if not Giroux, who should the team target? And I'm of the opinion that I think the Avalanche are fine. I think they should stand pat.
Yeah, I tend to take that opinion a lot too, and I'll get asked that all the time, and it's just like
Sure.
it's a boring answer. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Right.
maybe that's not the right mentality to have. Like obviously, even if it's a rental, that's usually what these things are. Like you're trading away the farm for potentially 20 games with like a player, and I oftentimes don't see like the worth or the value in it, especially when the team's doing so well. But at the same time, the Avalanche haven't made it out of the second round in the last forever. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be into it. I'm gonna just take the other side, I think, on this, but at the right price. Obviously, that's always the question, and it's tough. I think what he's worth is the three P's, like pick, player, prospect. So a player that can go perform now, for Philadelphia, and then a pick down the road. I think they're kind of in rebuild mode, and prospect, or maybe a couple prospects. Maybe they don't even want a player. But I would just say that's a safe answer usually. Or it's three pieces, and I would say pick. Maybe like second or third round pick if the Avs even have one. I didn't check before, but it's second or third round pick I would say, and then definitely a high level prospect. Probably like a Shane Bowers or a Martin Kaut. I think Martin Kaut is definitely trade bait at this point.
Sure.
Just injuries have just kind of ruined the early part of his career. Not going to say ruined his career, but he just hasn't been able to stick in the lineup. He's had plenty of chances to do so, and even down to Loveland isn't super impressive, and a lot of the times is unfortunately injured and is super injury prone, and it's kind of been the case for Shane Bowers a little bit the last couple of seasons too. But those are blue chip prospects that a lot of teams would desire, and I think a lot of them need a change of scenery as it could do wonders. So I could be one of those two guys. Probably being on there as well. And then player on the roster now, I mean, maybe like a Tyson Jones or yeah, I mean, I don't want to say like Logan O'Connor or something, because I don't think they'd part ways with him, but play like a third or fourth line, kind of depth player. So I'd say maybe a Tyson Jones or JT Confer or something like that. Might be able to get it done, but they might need to throw in another, because again, I think Philly's just in full rebuild mode moving forward, and I think that when they get like a new GM, new coach, I don't know, and they basically the owner is like, you have a blank check to like make this team good again. So that's a good indicator they're in full rebuild mode. So yeah, I mean, maybe a couple picks, a couple prospects, but I guess that's my safe answer for now.
Yeah, I saw somebody float out there. I think it was Newhook, Nichushkin, a first and a third.
Oh, it's like I mean, outrageous.
That's a
I
lot.
think a lot of people
That's
have
a
been saying
lot.
I think it starts with like Alex Newhook, and I was like, I think you hang up the phone if you're Joe Sakic, like right
Absolutely.
then and there.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw him play with the Eagles last season, get called up early because the Avs knew what they had in him, and he has stuck on the Avs roster.
Yeah.
Him, Bowen Byram. I mean, even
Kid's
to
like
look at
19. He's already double digit scorer, and we're at the halfway
right,
point of the year. He's played like 30 some games, and like he's got
right.
10 goals already, and yeah, he's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean, you may trade, a second or a third from 2023. I mean, that would be the pick maybe that I would trade, and you might throw Nichushkin in there if they're interested.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
wouldn't mind parting with. I don't know. And Shushkin's like
it's tough. It's
he's not
tough.
the sexiest player, the flashiest player on the roster, but he's like a Tyson Jones kind of guy, like a Swiss Army knife that can play up and down the ice, can play he plays a really really good defensive role, and the team is inarguably much better when Nichushkin's in the lineup. So I wouldn't mind parting ways with him, but I think that would hurt a lot more than people think. Just to get more goals from Claude Giroux when they don't really need goals. I think defense wins championships. I know it's like a football term, but
Sure, but
it's really the
it's
case. Like
applicable here too.
good goaltending and strong team defense are what wins championships. Like you know if you're letting in 6 goals, you can't expect your team to put in 7. Like the Avalanche are capable of doing that, but you can't do that in a playoff series generally. And they're low scoring games. It's like 2-1 games, 1-0 games, 3-2. Like they're super close. Basically every single game in the playoffs. So they're tight checking defensive battles, and everyone wants the Taylor Halls, the Claude Giroux, or whoever the hot name is,
Right.
by March trade deadline or February trade deadline, and it's exciting, sure, to think about that, but it's not necessarily like the smartest thing. And Joe Sakic knows that, and he's not gonna sell the farm just to get a few games, a couple dozen games out of a Claude Giroux. Like it's not necessarily that worth it.
Right. But Joe Sakic also played with a guy by the name of Ray Borg. So
Yes,
stay tuned.
true.
We'll see how it works out.
Mhm.
Anyway, thank you, Puckman, for your question. It's always fun to entertain those. And yeah, even though Scott and I are a little bit on the conservative side when it comes to trading, that's always
Yeah,
fun to entertain.
we're a little boring. Yeah, I expect to get
We
a
are.
lot more questions as we get closer to the trade deadline. I'm sure our Twitter DMs are going to be flooded with those exact same questions. So
Absolutely.
get
Yeah,
ready.
wait till March comes around. Get your popcorn ready, as T.O. once so infamously said. Or famously, not
Yeah.
infamously. But anyway, let's head on over to Fred J, the Durf man himself at Durfzuki. Is EJ in the doghouse? The Eagles are also playing great. Who's been the most unsung hero for them in this stretch? I'll take the Eagles one. You want to take the
Yeah, I
EJ
was gonna
one?
say that's definitely fair. EJ, no, I don't think he's in the doghouse at all. I think his minutes have kind of declined maybe a little bit, but he's still just a huge asset on the PK. He's right behind Devon Taves for the most shorthanded minutes on the team, on average. So I wouldn't say he's in the doghouse, but he's just, again, EJ is just one of those guys like Valentin we were just talking about. Like, he's not the flashiest guy. You hardly notice he's on the ice, most of the time, but that's a good thing. That's how success is measured in that role. Is he's blocking shots. He's,
Right.
being defensively responsible, has a positive, plus minus. Like, those are the kind of things you want to see, because when he's on the ice, the other team's not scoring goals, and that's kind of his role. And the Devon Taves and the Cale Makaras and the years they're having, the Sam Girards, like, these are like high octane offensive guys, and they're more fun to watch. They're speedy, and they bring some offense to the game, and that's why you hear their name a lot more. But EJ he's just quietly there doing his job. So I wouldn't say he's in the doghouse by any means, and he's the longest tenured member on this in the organization right now, and he's going to be a huge part of this team's playoff push. Like, he's the exact kind of guy, that Swiss Army knife, or that stay-at-home defenseman, I guess. Not really a Swiss Army knife, but that brick wall that you need in the playoffs. He's not afraid to hit and get hit. He's not afraid to block shots. He will block 5, 6, 7, 8 shots a game, and that's exactly what you need in postseason hockey. So
Right.
he's really I think I will kind of. I'll wait to say Karen's question, but I think him staying healthy is a huge key part of this team's success moving forward.
Yeah, and to the Eagles point that Fred was asking about as well. I mean, Cal Burke, I would say, is kind of an unsung
exactly
hero.
what I was going to say.
I mean, I know Marie Sexton is just hooting and hollering over there in Loveland right now, but yeah. I mean, he's doubled his point total. Like, he's almost at the same amount of games that he played last season. 9 points, 2 goals, 7 assists in 33 games played in 2021. 21-22, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points in 32 games. He's a solid, middle six forward guy. And, I mean, obviously he signed a contract with the Avs. So, I mean, how unsung can you be when you get an Avs contract in mid-season like he did? But I would also say quietly that Justus Anunen, and maybe not quietly to Eagles fans, obviously, but around the AHL, like, Justus Anunen is sneakily becoming like a top 15, top 10 goaltender in the AHL. And like I said, he led the league at least a few weekends ago in shootout wins with 4. So, I mean, to get comfortable now on North American ice, and to really, like, he's really settled in. Like, he doesn't get rattled if he lets in a goal. Like, he may let in 1 or 2, but he doesn't let in 3 or 4 like he used to in rapid succession like that. So I think the defense is shoring up in front of him. It's giving him a little more confidence. And that's something that I think is a key that I've said in the past for Anunen is he needs more confidence. He needs to have more confidence at the North American
game.
It's
the name of the game.
It is the name of the game. He played in Finland. He comes over. He plays a little bit last season. He plays more this season. They are riding him again, 9 games straight. They're giving him those breaks when they need it. They're not going to just run him into the ground. But yeah, I would say Cal Burke and Justus Anunen, I mean, as unsung as you can get. Yeah, all the other guys, they're your Dylan Securas, your Kiefer Sherwoods. I mean, Jordan Gross, he's not unsung. He leads all defensemen in the AHL. Not anymore, right? But yeah, Cal Burke, I mean, he's number 4 in the team in scoring. So there you have it. I mean, he's going to be a top 6 guy, come the end of the season, in my opinion. So anyway, thanks for the question, Fred J. Dervzuki. Next up, yeah, we've got Karen. We've got Karen Sherritt at Karen Sherritt 4. Long time that we haven't heard a question from you, Karen. So hi. What do you see are the challenges for the remainder of the regular season? Scott, you kind of touched on that with the EJ question, but elaborate further, my good man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just like staying healthy. We've said it, a few times so far, and I think there's a couple key members, like I said, like Erik Johnson. Him being healthy in the postseason, I think is going to be massive for the team. But obviously, it's just that's the it's not even a secret, but that's like the secret ingredient to playoff success is going into it and staying healthy. The teams that stay healthy are the ones that win, and the Avs have been beat up the last couple seasons, and That hasn't helped. So I think staying healthy as they have been, lately, Nathan McKinnon's out, yes, but like we said at the top of the podcast, not the biggest deal anymore if Nathan McKinnon's out, and it's only temporary. But
Right.
um, yeah, we haven't really touched on Bo Byram. It's kind of a random side thought, but yeah, no updates on him, and hoping the best for him as well moving forward. But
Right. Yes.
um, yeah, it'd be great if he could come back. Obviously, I think we're thinking he's probably going to take the rest of the year off, but if they can get some extra firepower heading into the postseason, that could be big for them in the postseason too. But yeah, biggest challenge is just staying healthy. It's something that's hurt the Avs the last 2 to 3 years, and that's something that could hurt them, now. But so far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, injuries. I mean, it's something we've preached since we started the show. The teams to stay healthy. I mean, if they stay healthy, look out, especially in net. I mean, Kemper and Francouz, that is a formidable tandem, in my opinion. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Their defense in front of them is solid. Same down at the Eagles in the AHL level. You put a good defense in front of Anunin, he gets more confident. And the more confidence you have, the more you're going to succeed. And that's showing out there down with the Eagles. So
Absolutely
healthy in net too. I mean, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually a really good point. Like goaltending is the biggest thing in the postseason. And, Kemper's kind of had some struggles, but they're both playing really, really well. Him and Francouz, and I guess we didn't touch on that in the trade rumor question, but we did, a couple of podcasts ago about Marc-Andre Fleury. And I think that's kind of what's going around the Twitter sphere now is, should the Avs trade for Marc-Andre Fleury before the postseason? And it's like, no, I mean, Kemper and Francouz are playing, great. And as long as those two can stay healthy, probably namely the latter, I think that's a solid duo. We've seen what Francouz is capable of in the postseason, and the bubble. Like, he played phenomenal when Grubauer was out until he got injured as well. But he could be a starting goalie, and he's proven that past. It's great to have a 1A 1B situation like the Avalanche have.
Yep. Yeah. You could have worse problems. I mean, you could start Michael Hutchinson in a Game 7 against the Dallas Stars.
Right.
Just saying.
Almost pulled it off too.
No knock on Hutch, but man, I mean, when you're going with your third string goaltender in a big playoff game, that's just tough. It's just tough. Tough ask for Michael Hutchinson as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Karen. We appreciate it. Got a late entry here from Julian Trihorn at Julian Trihorn. More of a comment about our snowy weather comment. He said, warmer in Vegas, but windy, 48 degrees. And he has a picture of, looks like Chance from Vegas, Iceberg the Penguin from Pittsburgh, the Jersey Devil, the Columbus mascot, who I'm spacing on his name, and then Howler from the Arizona Coyotes, just chilling out in front of, I'm guessing, T-Mobile Arena. So thanks for checking in, Julian. Appreciate it. Yeah, lot nicer in Vegas. We get it. So, well, let's see. I think we just got one more question. And of course, we were saying that we didn't see his name before we started the program, but he came through. Gil Manklang coming through with the off-topic of hockey question, which we appreciate here. You get to know us a little bit more as human beings.
It's a fun way to wrap it up.
It is. It always is. So Gil_Manklang, your favorite actor and actress in modern cinema, in parentheses, last 50 years. So Scott, who's your favorite actor and who's your favorite actress from 1970 on?
I always try to prep for these, but he got it in so late. Like, I didn't have time to prep for this question. But
I know.
Just off the top of my head. Oh gosh. So only because I saw like an interview with him today, it kind of reminded me of him in one of my favorite movies too. But Christoph Waltz.
Love Christoph Waltz.
Yeah,
yes.
Him in like Inglourious Basterds, just watched not too long ago, maybe like a month ago. He's just a phenomenal actor. I think he's funny and witty, and yeah, that's great. So I guess I would probably say him. And then, like, on the comedy side of things, probably like Jonah Hill. I've always been a big Jonah Hill guy. And fun fact that not many people know about, he attended the University of Colorado Boulder, my alma mater, for literally like a month, and said he absolutely hated it. So he transferred. but it's a
Uh,
fun fact anyway.
that
But
is a fun fact.
oh, actress. I guess I've always been like, I like Sandra Bullock. I think she plays a lot of versatile roles. She can
Hmm.
do like comedy and also be like super serious. And yeah, I mean, again, I wish I had more time to like prep for these and like go through like my favorite movies, but I can't think of any like off the top of my head. But I'll say that.
Okay, sounds good. I am a little bit older than Scott. Just turning 35 over here. So I would say my generation. I'm going back a little ways. I mean, obviously, based on my reaction, I love the Christoph Waltz pick. Um, just a fantastic actor out of Germany there. I'm going to stay local in regards to a more domestic actor to the United States. And he's played an AIDS patient opposite of Denzel Washington. He's played um, somebody a little bit slower in the movie Forrest Gump. He's played
Oh my gosh.
a castaway.
Wow.
Wilson!
That's actually a really good pick
He's
too.
played Mr. Rogers, for crying out loud. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, one of my favorites. You can watch him in pretty much any role. And I mean, he got his start in the 80s in TV, Bosom Buddies, in a cross dressing role. So a non traditional role, kind of crazy. And now he's like one of the most revered, legendary actors, um, of all time. And so Academy Award winning, just so versatile. So Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
comedic. I mean, Christmas just happening recently, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I'm a Jim
God, these
Carrey
are all
fan.
so good. Damn.
I
All
know,
right.
I know. Jim Carrey, comedic, just because you chimed in there. And also, he's kind of revitalized his comedic career as well. He did serious roles for, Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, opposite Kate Winslet and everything. But like, he's in the Sonic the Hedgehog movies as Dr. Robotnik now. And so it's
Yeah.
like he's revitalized his comedic career, 60 years old. Did not know Jim Carrey was that
Wow,
old,
is he
but
really that old?
got his start on In Living Color back in the early 90s, so 91 I want to say. So that's 30 years ago. So he looked young though. I mean, even when he was 29, 30, like he looked young.
Yeah.
So
Still does,
yeah,
obviously. I didn't realize he
still
was
yeah,
60. Like
60
I
years
thought he was in
old.
his 40s. Jeez. Okay.
No, yeah, yep. I mean, but yeah, Jim Carrey, that's again, another bit of a, not throwback per se, but going a little further back than Scott McDonald over there.
Yeah.
But
Those are all so good. I second
yeah,
all the things that you just said. I think
thank you, sir. Thank
I was
you.
throwing like Will Ferrell in there too, just for obvious
Sure.
reasons. And yeah, see if I had more time to like just go through like my dossier of like my favorite movies, I think I'd give a better answer. But
Oh, to thumb through your dossier, good sir. Yes. That's such a quality word. I love that. It's like you're a writer or something. You have such a
yeah, something
vast
like that.
vocabulary. I
I
love that.
read
I
the
love that.
thesaurus a lot for fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you really?
Thesaurus.com is just bookmarked on my laptop.
I
So
love that.
fun
That
facts about me.
always growing, always enriching your knowledge.
Something
I
like
like
that.
that about you, Scott. Yeah, something like that. So yes. Um, with that said, female, female actress. This is a tough one. Sandra Bullock, I like that choice. Um, I have always enjoyed Amy Adams movies. I was going to say music, but that's not what we're talking about. Amy Adams, American Hustle, opposite of Christian Bale, and why am I forgetting his name? The guy who does the voice of Rocket from uh, Guardians of the Galaxy, Bradley Cooper.
Mm,
Yeah, Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, but Amy Adams, the fun Disney movie Enchanted. She kind of played the ditzy Disney princess type, but then she can do American Hustle and be a hustler in the 70s, like
yeah.
hustling people out of money and stuff. Like that's a serious role, but like I really enjoy like the versatility. Again, versatile actors that can do comedy, that can do serious roles, that can do goofy
Yeah.
roles. Like I enjoy that, and
I
Tom
think
Hanks
that's
is
like
one
the
of those
most
too.
Yeah, I think that's like the most impressive part about acting is like the
Yeah,
versatility part of it. Like if you're just like, one dimensional and like you just do like just comedy movies or you play the same character basically and it's not, I don't know, like super impressive to me,
right.
but you're able to like cry on cue or like, yeah, again, like play just a bunch of different roles. I think that's super, super impressive. And all the people that we've named, I think are to do that. So
Right.
that's a good question. That's
That was a
that's a
great
tough one.
question. Thank you, Gil. Yeah, we'll try and give you a little bit more of a heads up next time so that we can You know,
Yeah, this is an early like recording day, so I think we had to send out the tweet a little bit early too. But
right.
Gil
But
actually just got a question in too last second.
oh, he did. Yeah.
He said
Yes.
also rumors
Also,
on who is buying the Broncos. Does it have an impact on the Avs? No, two separate owners. So I mean, Stan Kroenke is having the time of his life. Like, I mean, he's got potentially the Avalanche, who look like Stanley Cup favorites or who might go to the Stanley Cup Finals, and the LA Rams are, the other team that he owns, one of the other teams that he owns, going to the Super Bowl
correct.
in the
Yep.
stadium that he just built, SoFi Stadium.
Yep.
So he's doing just fine. I mean, he might buy the Broncos, like who knows? But I think he's got enough teams to worry about. But I could see
uh,
that possibly
I
happening.
I don't think the NFL would allow one owner for
Oh, I
two
guess
teams.
he owns an NFL
You
team.
you
I don't
can
think
you can get away with that at the ECHL level, as Spire Sports and Entertainment owns the Rapid City Rush and the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Different conferences, so maybe that's why they can let it slide. But
maybe.
I doubt. And
Yeah, I
and
didn't
it's
think about
weird.
that.
Rumors. The Oakview Group, who owns the Seattle Kraken and the soon-to-be AHL affiliate of them, the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Rumor has it, Oakview Group is building, or at least helping rebuild, the Baltimore Civic Center, $160 million renovation. And the Oakview Group with Kevin Durant is kind of spearheading that. So rumor is like, oh, another AHL team, but I'm thinking ECHL team, because I don't think, again, maybe they get away with it because two separate conferences on different sides, and they'll probably never play each other unless Calder Cup final, which is probably not going to happen, but I don't know. Anyway, sidebar there. I hope Peyton Manning's ownership group
That's
puts
what I
in
was
a
gonna
bid,
say. I think
because I
he's
think, yeah,
he's settled his roots into Denver. Like he lives here with his family. He loves it here, and
yep,
I think there's probably some mutual interest to buy the team, and it just makes sense. Like, again, he loves the organization, and he's living here for the rest of his life. He's a great guy. Like I think
yep,
that'd be the best thing for like the Broncos. I think is keeping Peyton Manning around as much as possible, and he's obviously an incredibly intelligent guy too. Like he could run a team, and then just him and John Elway working together. I think it'd be pretty incredible.
yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm glad that the Broncos are finally going up for sale, and you don't have this quarreling family bowling battle anymore. So, yeah, go Denver. Go Denver Broncos.
There you go.
Whee! Wearing my Denver Broncos stuff to a hockey podcast. Yep, that's what CC does. So, lastly, Scott, before we do our outro here, it is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. So I did want to ask you again, without any preparation at all, is there
Oh boy.
anyone that you want to give credence to? Again, this is on the spot. So if you forget anybody, you'll be forgiven. At least
Yeah.
I will. Maybe they won't, but
Yeah, that's an easy one for me. I actually didn't. I totally. Again, I'm not really on Twitter, these days
sure.
anymore. So I
Yeah.
didn't really, see tweets about that, and was caught up in work. So, but usually I would shout out Ashley Potts, who if you're an Eagles fan, you know her pretty well. She does great work. She heads the Eagles content department. Basically, she runs the social media. She's kind of worked her way from the bottom. I interned alongside her, and just saw the work that she was able to do, and started as an intern with like CSU Rams, and like built it up from there. Then started with the Eagles, and then ended up getting promoted to the position she's in now. And she's crushing it. Like I mean, she's made a TikTok account for the Eagles that has more followers than their Twitter account does at this point, and she just made it 2 months ago. So I mean, just impressive like growth numbers. She's keeping the content relevant and fun, and I shout her out. So yeah, Ashley Potts, follow her on Twitter. She's great. Follow the Eagles on Twitter, on TikTok. It's fun. She's she's awesome.
You stole one of mine, because I've been working with Ashley the past few seasons now, and she's just, like you said, she's killing it. Megan Angley, over at DNVR, just started covering the Eagles beat.
Yeah.
She's doing real great with the articles that she's coming out with. One of the Eagles, heading up the interns and everything, Nicole Panetta, working with her. It's been great she knows her stuff. She's passionate about sports, and she's very efficient in regards to needs and anything that I may ask or anything that I may need. up in the press box during a game. And she's very quick to get me Coach Cronin, very quick to get me any players I need for an interview. She's passionate about sports and passionate about Colorado sports. So that's great too. Of course, my writing crew at Full Press Hockey, I think the women outnumber the men or at least equal the men for AHL hockey writers. Of course, you have Elaine Shercliffe covering the Cleveland Monsters in the North Division and 3 teams in the Central Division as well, the Chicago Wolves, the Milwaukee Admirals, and who am I forgetting? The Grand Rapids Griffins. So she's amazing. And of course, you have Courtney Bauman. She hosts her own podcast from Center Ice, focuses on the Blackhawks and the Rockford Ice Hogs in the AHL there. So she covers the Ice Hogs, writing up articles for that. And I could go on and on, but just in my immediate circle there, giving a shout out to those ladies. And Jillian Murphy, she's a great up and coming photographer there for the Colorado Eagles as well. Katie Shork, I want to say, is another. Forgive me if I mispronounce her last name, but she's another great photographer. Just everybody that I'm working with in the Colorado Eagles circles there is doing a fantastic job. So, yeah. So there's that.
And thanks for bringing that to light too, by the way. Again, totally forgot about that. I'm gonna go shout out Ashley right now. Shoot her a text and tell her what's up.
Gil says Peyton's going to be busy with the Memphis Grizzly ownership. Hey, he can have a say in Denver ownership as well. I mean, there's no rule against that, So there you have it.
It's true.
All right. Well, that will do it for episode number 32 of Front Range Hockey. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to follow our show on pretty well any major podcast platform: Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, anything you can think of. Spreaker.com. You can see it, like it'll audio form. You can take care of it. And YouTube as well. Obviously, CC Hawkley, my YouTube channel, we broadcast live from that. And give our Twitter account a follow if you haven't already. You can see it scrolling below at Front RNG Hockey. Scott, I know you're still on sabbatical, as it were, but where can people find your work? Where can people find your hockey opinions?
Yeah. Like you said, I guess sabbatical is probably a good word for it, but I'm not really found these days. I'm not really on Twitter. I'm kind of doing other things, but you can still go on my Twitter. I tweet every once in a while there. It's at offscottfree, at 0FF Scottfree. And rumor has it I might get back into writing, might dust the laptop off, and if I do, you'll find out first on Twitter, and you can find the whole written work at coloradohockeynow.com. So I'll probably, as we get close to playoff time and I get a little more opinionated and animated about things, I'll probably, again, like I said, dust off that laptop and get back to it.
Yeah, it'll be good to see you jump back on the horse. That's for sure. I'm CC Hawkley. You can find my written work at Full Press Hockey. That's fullpresshockey.com. Pretty straightforward. You can check out this and a ton of other great hockey podcasts, plus other great sports pods on the Full Press Radio Network at fullpresscoverage.com. Thanks to DJ Sky Sonics, as we mentioned earlier, for the theme music and transitions when CC remembers to put them in there. Go follow her on Twitter at her handle at DJ Sky Sonics. That's DJ SKYSONIX. If you'd like her to make great music for you, check out Chromasonic Studios at chromasonicstudios.com. All right, guys, gals, non-binary pals. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Stay colorful, my friends, and let's get some DJ Sky Sonics bumping.
Let's do it. Oh.